Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibis? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Glad you're here. Hope you had a good Monday. I did. Before we get started, our music fact of the day. Dolly Parton wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day, y'all. The same day. Two amazing songs. She said it was a good writing day. I think Dolly was going through some stuff, y'all. That is mind blowing. All right. So the last episode, we kind of finished up with the day of and the aftermath of Charles's murder. Zulema and Alex both were traveling, and so that's sort of where we left off. We're at July 17th. Now, on the 15th, Banner Life left a message for Chandler investigators. They called them back on the 17th. Detective Moffat did. And they confirmed that Charles had an active life insurance policy for $1 million through Banner. The agent said there were forms that were being reviewed by their legal department, and she wasn't sure who the beneficiary would be determined to be. And the agent informed the investigator that Lori had attempted to make a claim on the policy after Charles's murder. The agent later provided the investigator copies of the forms and calls, which will be incorporated into the report. Now, several episodes ago, we talked about Moffat and the other investigator being on Dateline. And then, if you remember, Morgan Lowe interviewed the media relations officer for Chandler in January of 2020, right when all this hit mainstream media. If you remember, that officer said that Chandler was not aware of a life insurance policy or a motive for Charles's murder. But you see here on the 17th, they confirm Charles had the policy and Lori had made the claim on it right after. Also on the 17th, Chandler gets a copy of that order of protection that Charles filed against Lori. The investigator notes in the report that in the petition, Charles states that on January 29th of 2019, Lori told him she was a god assigned to lead the 144,000 people to the second coming of Jesus, July 2020. That came and went without anything, thank God. Lori said Charles was in her way and she would have to murder him if he tried to stop her. Charles also said that while on a business trip on the 30th of January 2019, Lori called and said she didn't trust him and would have to kill him when he got home. She also said that an angel would be there to help her dispose of his body. Lori also told Charles she knew he was Nick Schneider and he would have to go painfully. The petition for the order of protection will be scanned into this report for future reference. So we know that day there were a couple of things that should have probably been pretty clear that there might have been a motive behind this self-defense killing. So the same day, one of Charles's sons emails Detective Moffat saying it's been a week and all Lori has told them is their dad has passed away. He also notes on social media that Lori's family has photos of all of them, some of which those pictures were taken at Charles and Lori's house. But oddly enough, Charles isn't in any of those pictures. And he said it may not mean anything, but he thought it was weird. Yeah, it is really, really weird. He says there hasn't been a funeral yet, and Lori called Kay that day and they talked for around 25 minutes. Apparently, Lori's cell phone reception was kind of poor, but the call was recorded and he offered to send it to Detective Moffat. He said it had been a week since his dad died and Lori won't tell him anything other than the fact that he had died. So, one of the few parts of this story that makes me happy, the same day, Lori finds out she is not the beneficiary of this life insurance policy. So, Lori texts Chad at 6:55 a.m. I just got the letter from the insurance company saying I'm not the beneficiary. It's a spear through my heart. Who do you think he changed it to? Brandon or probably Kay? He left nothing for JJ. Chad responds, wow, that's terrible. There's no way to find out. Lori said, I might be able to see when I get his computer on Sunday. Going to Houston, remember, with Colby to get all of his stuff. Um, so it says, going to Houston with Colby to get stuff from Charles's place. Could check the email sent to the insurance company. It will show change of beneficiary. He must have done it recently. So you see there, a big reason for going to Texas was to maybe see if they could find that email. Chad said, it seems you had to agree to the change. No, that's not how it works, Chatty boy. Maybe your name was forged. You should have a good paper trail to prove it. I love you. This is terrible, but it's probably another step in bringing down the Gadiantons, especially Brandon. So in the Book of Mormon, the Gadiantons are a band of robbers that were covert, led by somebody pretending to be good. And Lori says, nope, he can change it anytime he wants. He's the agent, and anyone can change their beneficiary anytime with their own signature. I'm thinking it must be K. And Chad said, it will be interesting if he got it changed after he had 2 bullets in his chest. Wow. Lori said, I don't think it could have. You can't change it after the death date. They would review that. Chad says, yes, I'm thinking K as well. She's probably freaking out that you got those computers. I'm going to shower and give you a blessing. I'm eager to get home so we can talk. It really will be okay, my love. You are wonderful. So the same day, Lori sends an email to Chad that evening. I wonder if it's because he was home and didn't want his phone going off. Did they switch to email? And that's why I'm really, really interested for trial, because we don't know anything that Rexburg has really, other than just what little things we've learned along the way. But mostly that probable cause affidavit by Lieutenant Ron Ball has shed the most light on anything we know about Rexburg. I think we're going to be blown away, y'all. So the same day she emails Chad. So I talked to the insurance company. He changed it in March. So it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. They can't tell me who, of course, but it's done. I still get the $4,000 a month from Social Security. Remember, way before Charles's murder, she was doing that calculator online to see how much money JJ would get. So if investigators had gotten a search warrant for texts and emails again, they would have seen, she said, before we got rid of him. This is what, the 17th? I mean, this is really short. The 18th. This is right after Charles's murder. So, Zulema told investigators that Lori would tell them that she was getting $1 million if something were to happen to Charles. After the murder, Zulema said Lori tried to not show too much emotion, but Zulema said she seemed really upset about, I guess, not getting the money. She said Lori would always say they're on a mission from God and she would be okay. So on the 19th at 12:53, this is when Chad sends Lori a message providing those trust levels of those she needed to be aware of. Here's the list. Gibb was 97, Melanice 85, Zulema was a 96, Serena was an 18, Christina was an 8. Remember, Christina really was not comfortable with the things Lori was saying about Charles, and Serena, had started questioning things, so they become low. Nicole, an 86. April is a 7. Thor is a 94. Jason, I assume to be Mao, is a 31. Alex is a 94. We talked about this last episode. Summer is a 40. Janice is a 15. Barry is an 8. Adam is a 0. Stacy, Talia, Audrey, and Raphael are 100. We know that Audrey is somebody that Lori called in the Walgreens just right after Charles's murder. She also, we think, lives in Missouri when Lori went to Independence. She talked about Audrey and texted Audrey from Hawaii. I don't know who Talia is, though. The same day at 5:41 p.m., Melanie's texts Lori, it's Melanie Lee, my clear line, and she puts a wink emoji. I'll use for emergencies. If you have something you want to send to this phone, text me she puts a monkey emoji, and I'll know to look in on this one. Zulema texts Lori, oh my goodness, there's a new energy all around. I feel this is their last effort against our work. We will conquer. We will win. Kara is finally feeling better, casting a blessing, Chad healing her. They're not happy with us. I hope you're okay. Lori doesn't respond to any text from Zulema, as far as we know, until around July 27th. So on July 20th, Kay emails Detective Moffat and says she talked with someone who has a lot of family insight. Also, she said Alex was currently in Colombia that week and had taken that week off of work. She asks if he knew that Alex had spent time in jail for assaulting Joe Ryan. And one of Charles's son texts Lori and says, if you won't answer those questions, can we still please have the watches? I've just put that in there to kind of show where we were. We read all those in one shot just to keep it flowing. The same day, Lori purchases a plane ticket from Allegiant for Chad to come to Arizona from Provo, Utah for $259.50. On a side note, the same credit card she used to buy this ticket was the one she used to pay Valley of the Sun mortuary for Charles's cremation. On July 21st, Melanice sent Lori a message. You should get a life insurance policy on JJ, Tylee, and you. Because after Charles, we see that anything can always happen. It's in the Lord's will. I thought that was interesting, getting a life insurance policy on JJ and Tylee. July 22nd to 23rd, this is regarding fighting off evil spirits. Chad texts Lori, there are only 272 threes left, and none of them have occupied a body before. They are down to their last reserves. I'm glad I caught Elroy. I feel he was aiming to hide out and then get into JJ. So 22nd, 23rd, we have Chad obviously starting to indicate to Lori that maybe JJ is going to be taken over. For me, it just really feels like he threw that in there. We don't know what they talked about on the phone or anything, but July 22nd, 23rd, very shortly after Charles's murder, we know Tylee was already being referred to as Hillary and Dark. Lori texts, good morning, put a sunshine emoji, missing you, didn't sleep much, need you to check JJ. Weird stuff happened in the middle of the night. It's like they distracted us with Blake, lips emoji. Lori said, just dropped off JJ, cleared the school and placed him in a shield of protection, lips emoji. So sometime between the 22nd and the 26th, Lori goes to JJ's school and tells them that Charles committed suicide and that JJ did not know. The staff thought that was really weird. They knew Charles, loved Charles, commented that he made sure they had everything they needed, and JJ too. So they Googled Charles, as pretty much everybody had to get the real story, and they found out he was killed in a family altercation. The staff member said JJ had days where he was sad and distressed and told his teacher, my dad's not in heaven, he's traveling. Poor buddy, man. Kay tells Detective Moffat that Lori texted saying they were moving back to Hawaii ASAP. In that text, Lori said JJ won't be able to come to Louisiana for Charles's funeral and asks Kay which address she wants Charles's ashes sent to and a box of things for Charles's son. You can see she just wants to be done with that part of her life. Just very callous and very Lori. July 22nd, Lori emails the dog training company saying they need to find another home for Bailey, JJ's service dog, because they have had a change in life circumstance. In an interview with 48 Hours, they start talking about Bailey. This really bothered me. Janice said, I don't think Bailey's an issue as far as JJ is concerned. So the interviewer says there's a lot going on that just doesn't add up. And Janice says, okay, I do know about the dog. I was over there a lot. Charles loved Bailey. JJ was not really attached to it. And then Summer said he was fine without him. July 22nd, Kay sends an email to Detective Moffat and says Bailey is JJ's service dog, a golden doodle. Think he's approximately 3 years old. His purpose is to help ease his anxieties. I don't know if his training would prompt him to have taken a defensive stance against Alex in Charles's defense. Charles loved Bailey. I can't imagine the altercation happening in front of him and him not responding defensively unless he wasn't in the room. Bailey usually had free reign of their home, and we know Bailey was in Texas at a kennel. She said, another thought, hope I'm not bothering you. Adam is supposed to call you this morning. I pray he does. If you don't mind and you're not too busy, I would appreciate you reaching out to let me know how the conversation goes. So, July 23rd, in an email to one of Charles's sons who had reached out with questions previously to Detective Moffat, he responds his son asked about Alex being able to legally carry a firearm, even though he was a convicted felon. He also wanted an order of protection because they felt unsafe. And I bet they did. You think about all the things that these boys went through just with Charles's murder. And then they're scared of Lori. They know something's up. They know what they've heard isn't true. And then you look, they lose JJ and Tylee later. It's living victims. I say that a lot, but it's true. These families go through so much. And then you think about the fact that these families are grieving on a world stage and they're open to criticisms and bashing by people who don't know anything about them other than what we see in these documents or what we've heard online. And I don't envy the road they have to travel for sure. So Moffat explains to Charles's son that since Alex completed his terms of probation, those charges were eventually reduced to misdemeanors and he was able to legally carry. He also says there's no probable cause to arrest anyone at this point so they can travel wherever they want to. They were waiting on the cell phone records. This was July 23rd. The same day, that's when Kay gets the text from Lori. It looks like she had texted Lori the night before. It says, "Low, y'all okay? I'm worried. Please just send a quick text that y'all are okay. Did you see flight itineraries? You good with it? Love you. Kisses for JJ from me and Pawpaw." Lori responds the next day at 1:25 p.m. "Sorry, yes, we're okay. Been busy. I never received any email from you. We've been figuring out what to do. JJ won't be able to go to Louisiana next week. We're moving back to Hawaii ASAP before school starts there. Please send me the address that you want me to send the ashes to for your memorial. I'll also send a box of things for Cole and Zach. If you could give it to them, that would be great. Thanks." And Kay says, "Is there any way possible I can get him? I can be there tomorrow since he's out of school. Once you're settled in Hawaii, I will bring him to you there. It breaks my heart he won't be able to attend service. Us keeping him while you move will help you. Win-win situation." Then she said, "I had rethought flight plans after I booked. Since you said he's out of school tomorrow until August the 5th, I wanted to change and get him tomorrow anyway. But you didn't reply to my text. Please let me know. However, we can work this out. We will bend over backwards to work around your schedule. I need JJ hugs and kisses very badly right now. Everyone is looking forward to seeing him. Please, Low." And she puts a bunch of prayer hand emojis. And it's in a normal world, if things were legit, like Lori had said, I'm sure she would welcome the chance to have Kay watch JJ. And then you see that video from the 11th where you see what I say is the resentment of JJ in general when talking about him. Anytime she mentioned his name, it's not because she wanted to be with her son. It's because she knew Kay was the beneficiary, and I don't think there was any chance she would ever work with Kay at this point. And it's, all at the expense of JJ at that time and ultimately his life, just a couple of months later. Kay says to the investigator, "This is devastating to us. I guess she won't let him come because she's afraid that we will keep him. We can't legally, and we are law abiding citizens." She asks, "What does this do to the investigation?" And Detective Moffat says, "The only downside to her moving is she won't be readily available to interview in person." He says if they were able to establish probable cause to arrest her, he would obtain a warrant and would have her extradited back to Arizona. He said it's not difficult since Lori is still in the U.S. And he asked if Lori worked while they were in Hawaii. So Kate emails him back. She did not work the entire 13 years they were married, no matter where they lived. She now has no visible means of support. They didn't have much money in the bank. I have access to the business account and it's got $50 in it. But they have several accounts at Chase. I think the main reason for moving is to put as much space between her and Phoenix. Numerous relatives feel she has had everything to do with Charles being shot to death. Her relationship with Alex is weird. I mean, seriously, how many brothers would taser someone for her, like he did to her last husband, then had to do time? One of two or three assaults, and now Charles. I guarantee my two remaining brothers love me, but you don't cross certain lines. And Alex obviously doesn't understand that. So it's Kay totally in the beginning, her and Larry both had this figured out better than the investigators did. She said she found Charles's social security statement, which showed spouse raising minor child entitled to is redacted. Minor child is entitled to redacted. So it says she's getting something, it's redacted per month. This will be a hard pill for her to swallow. We fully expect to find her next out in Hawaii. If she, her next, and she put next in quotes, her next husband. Um, Ironically, yeah, she did marry her next husband in Hawaii. And Kay, rightfully so, says if she doesn't already have one, because the chances of next finding out about Charles's demise and chances they would see the suspicious cloud over her is greatly lessened. Unfortunately, Chad knew and supported it 100%. She said, as far as Hawaii, her and Charles both loved it there. How she's affording the move is a good question. Charles supported her family to the tune of approximately, it's redacted per month. Cell phone lines alone were 22 for cell phones, iPads, earbuds, etc. Both of Lori's parents' devices, plus he bought those devices to boot. So it says he paid rent, groceries, baby necessities. Every time Lori wanted a vacation, Charles paid the bills for whomever they brought with them. Lori bullied Charles to the point of emasculation. He was so blind. It was pathetic. Wait. Yeah, he was so blind. It was pathetic. He and I had numerous conversations about this. He would always respond, but I love her. Mm. He made me crazy because I began to see how she used him badly within the past year. Honestly, she started killing his spirit a long time ago. It's redacted. She says he told me this, plus a few of his friends will concur this statement. In his business, it wasn't always steady, so occasionally there were lean times, just as with every couple. I bet that was hard for Lori when it was lean times because she probably, her family probably saw her as the hero with all these fancy devices and cell phones and vacations. So on the 25th, Kay emails Detective Moffat and says Lori won't let JJ come. She wants to hire a private investigator and says Charles suspected Lori of having an affair with Chad, rightfully so. She said Lori made videos of herself dancing on Charles's computer and sent them to Chad. I want to see those so bad, y'all. Ian's divorce from his wife, Natalie, is finalized. In an email exchange to Chandler investigators, they're talking to Travis County, Texas, where Alex attacked Joe. They're asking for information about that tasing incident from 2007. Detective Moffat says, according to my victim's family, the suspect was arrested for assaulting his sister's husband. In my case, the suspect shot the same sister's husband and is claiming self-defense. So you see in July, you've got all this there. I don't know how there wasn't probable cause for an arrest at this point. July 26th at 8:13 p.m., another message from Bubby. Tonight, I figured out who I feel like. I'm a grown-up version of Harry Potter who has to live with he put the Dudleys. It's the Dursleys, you moron. In his little space under the stairs. Every few weeks, I get to escape and have amazing adventures with my goddess lover. But then I have to return to my place under the stairs feeling trapped. But I sense permanent freedom is coming. 2 fire emojis. Yeah. So we know what happens to Tammy Daybell. This is July 27th. Charles is gone. So now he's thinking about Tammy. Poor Tammy. On July 27th, Zulema texts Lori, "Oh my goodness, there's a new energy all around, and I feel this is their last effort against our work." We just said that a few minutes ago. Sorry. She's in Chile still. She said, "Missing you so much." Lori tells her she's missing her so much. Zulema says, "You're the best. I'm missing home already, and I can't wait to see you. I have some work to do here yet. I blessed one land, and I brought an earthquake in another city." I blessed one land. I wonder if she blessed the rains down in Africa too. Lori responds the next day, "When are you coming home?" "Can't wait." Zulema says, "Thursday, very early." And Lori says, "Perfect. Can't wait. I'm so proud of all the work you're doing." On the 29th of July, Kay sends the text to Detective Moffat where Lori realizes she's not the beneficiary for Charles's policy. Kay said she would dance with the devil for JJ's sake. And then she says, "which I'm pretty much when conversing with her." That's right, Miss Kay. In the text, Lori says 5 kids and no money, and his sister gets everything. This is the last text I believe that Kay gets from Lori. Lori, Alex, and Melanice on this day on the 29th travel to Oceanside, California for 2 days until the 31st. On July the 30th, Detective Hermosillo emails Kay asking if she recognizes a phone number. Actually, this couldn't be July 30th. Maybe it was Moffat, and I just put Hermosillo. She says that she doesn't, but she will resend those texts from Lori. She also says they're in the process of moving Charles's stuff. Moffat responds and says he needs to talk to her about some things and catch her up on a few things as well. On the 30th, Chad sends Lori a message that says, here we go. Tammy is at a 3. JJ is at a 2. Both are being heavily shielded to stop intruders. I think these are death percentages. On the 30th, there's a text from Chad who was on the Bubby account. "We might need to release a little steam when we talk," and there's 2 fire emojis. Anyway, this is the chart that checks what percentage mortals are still in their body. It worked for my friend's wife who died, my neighbor, George Bush, Stan Lee, etc. I kind of forgot about it because we've been dealing with zombies and demonic entities. But this afternoon, Tammy said she felt lightheaded, as if her body and spirit weren't connected. In another text, he said, "I got the inspiration to go back to my original death percentages that helped us track Charles, Ned, etc. Tammy is very close. Her percentage has fallen steadily since Iplos left. It is encouraging," with heart and lips emoji. Zulema said at the end of July, Lori had a meeting at her house in Chandler. Chad was there. And remember, this was the first time that she saw them being romantic. Tammy's still alive at this point, by the way. The meeting is when, according to Zulema, they talk about moving to Rexburg. So sometime in August, there's a prayer circle at Lori's house. Investigators asked Gibb about this in the August 19th, 2020 interview. Melanice, Alex, Lori, Julie, Zulema, David, Chad, they were the ones who were there. Chad brings out his seer stone, which is a device used to translate and receive revelations. So the investigator asked Gibb if Iplos was mentioned, and Gibb couldn't remember. So the detective mentions that Julie Clement said something about a dragon, and Melanie said she didn't have any of their visions and she doesn't do energy work. So this is their department. She does remember Julie and Zulema had a thin veil and they saw a dragon in their prayer at one point. If they were in that little circle saying a prayer, she doesn't know why Iplos would be mentioned if Charles was already dead. So the investigator asked if there's a reason behind the prayer circle. And she said she remembers Zulema speaking and she tries to remember if they're talking about certain people to help the spirit get out of bodies. She's also trying to remember who they were focusing their energy on at that point. She said it could have been Brandon, but it wouldn't have been Tammy. So she thinks it was Brandon, but she's not 100%. Then she said maybe she was talking about the earth. She said it was so out there. She said David, which was her boyfriend at the time, was so uncomfortable. And she says that like 3 times. So I think we'll stop here and make this just a little half-hour episode today. We're gonna pick back up tomorrow, July 31st. We got some new text messages to look through. We're still on this timeline. We're getting close to when they're moving to Rexburg. So, anyways, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We'll see you soon.